On today's episode, we talk about how AI can make more time in your day, and we talk about Megan's prompt framework, and we talk about how reverse prompting can improve your AI experience. Stay tuned, everybody. Welcome to the AI Lab Unfiltered podcast. I am Drew Veach from BizStream. I am joined by Mr. Pete Tarrant from New Wave.
Thanks for having me on your little podcast, Drew.
My little podcast.
Yeah.
All right.
Your ones of listeners.
See how this is going to handle today. So we are powered by Think Tank Thought Leadership. They handle all of our production, producing. They handle all of it. They help us put this entire podcast together.
Yep.
And it's been an awesome ride with them. We get along with them great. We just interviewed one of their guys on our team because we found out how he's using AI, and he had some great insight. And they help us. They handle everything, literally everything. The editing, the putting all this together, posting it online. They handle everything for you. If you're thinking about doing a podcast, you need to talk to Think Tank Thought Leadership, or talk to one of us. Hit us up on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
We'll give you the ins and outs and what you need to know, what you should do, and how you can work with them. And it's awesome. It's been awesome.
I think you made a really good point when you talk about like just being good people, because you can work with get good services from a company, but if they're not good people, you're like, well, that was cool, but I don't like working with them. With these guys, you get great quality work, and they're just awesome people to work with, which gives me a lot of confidence to say what I'm going to say next, which is, if you want to be cool, have a podcast. If you're going to have a podcast, do it with Think Tank Thought Leadership.
There you go. Today, I'm excited. We have a founder and CEO that's going to talk about AI. Are you excited, Pete?
I am excited. We will once again be dwarfed by the intelligence and quality of our guests.
Always. It's always a thing. Please welcome to the show, Megan Hiskis, founder and CEO of Intuitive Operations. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
We should have clapping or something in the background. I just thought of that.
No, you know what? I'm gonna already veto that, because I don't think anybody from my kids' school is gonna listen to this. But my daughters played soccer at the high school that they go to, and at some point halfway through the season, they started doing these sound effects during the game. Like they would add applause, and it's bad clapping during the game in a high school soccer match. And it's just, I'm a little embarrassed by it. I don't like it.
Too artificial.
It's yeah. Anyway.
I say, what are they trying to say? That they're not getting enough clapping?
Are they trying to like spur?
Yeah, they're listening right now, being like, Pete, if you actually clapped at the game, we wouldn't have to add it in.
Yeah, you got to get some of those cowbells or something just to bring up the vibe.
This is recorded in front of a live studio audience. Anyhow, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell me about Intuitive Operations. Tell me about what it is, how you started it.
Yeah, so I have worked in IT project management for well over a decade. My biggest thing that I saw in the marketplace to be able to start Intuitive Operations was a lot of small businesses were kind of seeing a gap in what they could get from providers to help them with AI. If you're a 1-person to 10-person shop, it's kind of a little bit outside of your price range to be able to have somebody like these big conglomerates come in and help you with your AI strategy and what you actually need to do with it. So that's kind of my passion to be able to help, is kind of where that came in.
Nice. And that is a much, let's see if I can say my words here, a much needed space that needs it too.
Yes.
So that's a great space to be in. Tell me about like, what is your go-to project? What do people come to you most for, I guess?
So a lot of times people will come to us just to figure out how they start with AI. There is everything from how do I get hallucinations to stop to how should I set everything up? Like, I want to make sure that we're being secure. I want to have a process in place for when we bring in new AI applications, because, I mean, it's the same thing with how we started Intuitive Operations. First, you simplify, then you optimize, and then you implement.
Nice.
You don't want to have too many things in there because all of the data is going to get clustered and nothing's going to come out the way that you want it to.
So that brings up a good point. Data hygiene.
Yes.
Because I imagine a lot of people, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then you look at, okay, where are we sourcing that data from and how accurate and how up to date is that?
Yes, I actually did a Copilot pilot for a company a few months ago. And the biggest thing with them is I needed to have them understand that could Copilot do something that you guys are talking about with those workflows? Probably, but let's look at where that data, like you're saying, is sourced from. And then looking to see if where it's currently housed has any AI in that application already, because they're injecting AI into absolutely everything.
Yep.
And you want to make sure that you're using these applications for the way that they should be used and not how you can try to make them to be used.
Yeah.
So making sure that everything's kind of clean and you're getting the information out that you're wanting to.
The point that you just made, I heard recently for the first time. They were talking about SaaS products and how implementations can fail with these big SaaS products. And they said the reason for it is because the company tries to bend the software to how they run their company versus using the software like it was supposed to be intended. And maybe I'd heard that before, but I heard it a couple weeks ago and it really stuck with me. I think AI is in what you end up building for clients. If it's custom, then you're building it for the business. The business doesn't have to adjust to the software. You're building custom stuff that's built for the business. I think you're going to get much better acceptance and adoption of that tool, much better output because you're describing up front. And I think you'll probably get into this more and when you're talking about your simplify and your 3-step process. I don't remember there too. It's already been 5 minutes, so I forgot what it was. But in designing those things, and you're really trying to figure out like what output do you really want, and then how do we reverse engineer that out. But when you said that, it just got me thinking, going down that path.
Yeah, actually, if you've ever worked in software, you optimize, not customize, because every time you customize something and the software is built for something else, every time it updates or a new feature is improved or something in there, there's a huge potential that it's going to break whatever you customized in there.
Before we talk anymore about AI, so Megan and I met and had coffee, I don't know how long ago it was, not that long ago. And I told you after I left that conversation, like I've never felt so lazy in my entire life after talking with you.
I remember you telling me that, yeah.
So I think it just kind of helps build your persona here, like, and I don't know, you have to talk about yourself and brag about yourself, which not everyone's comfortable doing. But could you just talk about like the books and like all the things that you're doing? Like you don't stop. Like what you were describing to me is like from the time that you wake up and you're reviewing code while you're laying in bed before you fall asleep. Like you just never stop. Like what are all the things that you're involved in right now?
Yes, so I'm not really great at bragging about myself, but I think we talked about before, people get burnt out by doing things that they don't want to do, not by things that they like to do. And I truly enjoy what I do, so I love doing all this kind of stuff. The first book that I wrote was AI Implementations for the Reluctant Organization, and that basically came from all of my 3 a.m. thoughts, because I'll wake up and be like, oh, yeah, that's a problem. We should probably talk about that. Or I need to do something with this. And that's how the majority of the apps that I build is, because I'll think of something or I troubleshoot in my dreams and I'm like, yeah, we should probably do something with that. And then I'll get up and I'll write it down, or I have a whole list of notes in my phone. And then whenever I don't do a lot of like doom scrolling on TikTok or things like that, just because, again, ADHD powers my life. But there's one of the books that I'm writing right now is, I'm still working on the name. I know that we talked about, I think it was Time is what I was thinking, but like time with a and then the I am an E or something like that. But basically, my thought behind that was, with all these new generations of workers coming in, they really want to have that time back instead of more money for compensation to be able to do things. Yeah. And you see all these huge companies right now doing mass layoffs because they're like, oh, AI can optimize all of this. Okay, you still need the human in the loop for almost absolutely everything. You need to make sure that it's consistent because they do drift. And you want to make sure that everything comes back to exactly what you're expecting it to. And to have a workforce, the majority of the money that companies spend, it's not on employees, it's retraining employees. So when these mass layoffs happen, they're going to find out in probably 6 months that they're going to need at least 60% of them back. And then they're going to have to find new people because most likely the people that they fired are going to be like, probably not.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah. So being able to understand like how you could utilize all of the tools in AI to make more time for your employees and give that as part of their compensation package.
I love that so much. When the AI thing really first started taking off, end of 2022, beginning of 23, that's immediately where my head went. Like, man, you need way more time than I do. Like I have time, but imagine, people that are they are doing everything they can to support their families and they're trying to make a name for themselves or whatever their motivations are for all the time that they put into their work. We could get so much back. And that's, for me, has been this great promise. Like, I want like a 3 or 4 day work week. And maybe I work from, I like to work from 6 a.m. to noon and be done and go do my thing and have my evenings to build my own stuff or just be creative or do what I want to do. If we can get the same amount of stuff done, but we have more time in our lives, what an amazing payoff.
Yeah, we've talked about that on the show before, is AI burning you out because it can do so much and you're like, I want to do this. And did it take things off your plate, or did it make the plate bigger so you can put more stuff on there because you can run so many things simultaneously? There's a new term called Vampiric AI, which I just heard about from a guy at work. He was telling me, he said, hey, did you hear about this? And he told me what it means. It's when you're up late at night because all you want to do is keep building projects in Claude Code or in Cursor, whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's taking your sleep time now, and all you want to do is just keep building.
That was me last night.
Vampire. Yeah.
My regular bedtime is like 10 p.m. I was up till midnight last night because I was using my OpenClaw, writing code for something for work, and because we're going to review it this afternoon. Like, yeah, I could stop here, but if I spent a little bit more time, I could just tweak it and make it a little bit better and have a better demonstration. So I just kept going, and it was awesome. And this is like the time of year to do it too. Like, I was sitting out on the deck. It was beautiful evening outside. I just got my laptop, got a drink, had the San Antonio OKC game on. Like, I was just in my glory. I could have kept going, but I'm like, I have to record in the morning. I don't want my eyes to be all bloodshot and forget my name. Or
you're the cute one on the show.
Yeah, they can edit that out though, right?
Keep the moneymaker. Yeah. Yeah.
The guy over there is like, no,
we don't even point the camera at you.
So tell me about when you're building some of these apps. You mentioned that you have a prompt framework that you use.
So it's very similar. It's very basic, and it's called RATE with 3 R's. So the first part of it, you give it a role, kind of like the role task format, the very basic one that you would start out with. But then in the first prompt, you'll give it the role, and then you'll ask it for the references that it's going to be using for its knowledge base for that role. And then not part of the prompt, but still part of the framework, is the review process. You need to review the references that the role is going to be using because you want to make sure that they're relevant and actually
real.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Fourth R. Real.
Yes, real. Yeah. We'll put that one in there. But yeah, so you need to make sure that they're credible and all the things before you actually put it in. And then the other one is you're going to have it apply all of that information that it has from those to the task. And then at the very end of that, those are the 2 prompts. And then you're going to evaluate. Evaluation is always going to be something, and that's why we're talking about it can't all completely be AI. You need to have that human in the loop just to make sure no prompting and posting so that people actually check their work before they actually go through with it.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you've built anything with AI and it tells you, I built it, want me to deploy it? I'm like, hell yeah, deploy that thing. And you go to use it, and it's just a dumpster fire.
Mess.
And that part is fun too, though, because then you learn how to prompt earlier upstream so that you don't get that crappy output. But sometimes chasing down those weird things are like when you go back to it and you give it a screenshot and you're like, this looks like shit. Like, why why did you do that? And it's like, oh, I'm going to go make, that's just fun. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoy that stuff.
It's very addictive.
I still do a lot of reverse prompting. Like, here's what I'm trying to get to. Like, I'll write up a simple paragraph of this is what I want it to do. Now build me, and I'll do it like in like Claude Chat. Now write me out a bigger prompt, like an outline of what that prompt would be. And it's like 3 pages worth of stuff. Then it's like, okay, now I want to build that into Claude Code. Give me the prompt that I need to put in there, and then carry that over. And that seems to be, it builds it out. And then, like you said, when I first see it, it's like, launch, I'm ready to go. Let's make this public. And it's like, this is a piece of shit. So then I go back in and I say, okay, now identify all the gaps in what I'm missing in here. Now that it's built, and oh yeah, we have to fix all these things here. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
The reverse prompting, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I worked a lot in quality assurance in software building. So I worked for. I was gonna say,
heavily.
You give it to Q&A and they're like, kick it back. There's so many bugs in that one.
Yes.
So. Maybe if we could spend a minute on reverse prompting, just for anyone listening, and how powerful that is. It's the idea that you are essentially asking the AI to give you a prompt that you can give back to it. So like last night when I was writing, if I had an idea for something that I wanted, I said, this is what I'm thinking about. How would you build that? And then it gives me a whole big long thing that says, well, I would do this, 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 and this. And if I liked all of it, I would just say, okay, do that. And it would come back later and say, it's done. You want to deploy it? Or you can also tweak it. So if you see something in what it put in there, like, I don't like that part. So you can say, do everything but that part that I don't like. And so it's just, I don't know, it's the craziest thing. Like, sometimes I have to like kind of almost pinch myself that we live in a time where we're doing this. Like, I'm on a laptop just sitting outside and I'm talking to the world's smartest code writer that's ever existed. And it's just doing things for me because I'm asking it.
Yeah, or you're out and then you set it up, let it run, and then you got dispatch run on your phone and you're out mowing the yard and you're just keep going.
Well, I'll do that.
Maybe make sure that your laptop's in the shade though, not in the sun, because it's going to overheat if you just have to keep running.
Well, it was a beautiful, cool evening. Once the sun went down, so after like 8 o'clock, it was just, like perfect. It was. I wish I could recreate that every night. I would be so happy.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, you were talking about how like there's like this planner mode. I know everybody loves Claude Code, but there's a bunch of other ones. GitHub's pretty good. You're going to need to be a little bit more technical if you use that, just for how you kind of organize things and write things out. Riplet is one of my favorite ones just because it has a really cool viewing video or viewing screen so you can see everything. But then they also have this planner mode, which is basically what you're doing. So you can either ask it to, like in the development portion, you can say, hey, we want to do this, or you can even put your own code in there to make sure that it's building it out exactly how you want to. But you can switch it to the planner mode, and then you can basically do exactly what you're saying, say, hey, this is what I want to do. How would the best way to be able to do this? And then it'll spit out, hey, these are some of the features that we would put in here, and then it breaks it out into each individual plan. So then you can review the plans and then critique anything, change anything, or add anything in there, and then have it run.
That's on Replit, you said? Okay.
Does Claude have that same planning?
I don't know. That's why I was just
I heard. So I'm going to create my own Claude account this weekend. I've never had one before, but I thought I read somewhere that it also had something like a planning feature or something like that.
There are so many platforms out there right now, and a lot of them are very similar. I've done a few training sessions or like lunch and learns kind of thing to teach people how to build agents on different platforms. And I think the last time I did ChatGPT, U.com, and Copilot, and Gemini. So they're all basically the same on how you do that, and they're all getting more similar as the days go on. So they're like, oh, that's a good thing. We're going to put this in here too. The biggest thing when I talk to people about like the different tools that they're using, again, with that Copilot pilot program, they're like, oh, this is rubbish. It's not getting out anything good. I was like, well, they're learning models, so you need to actually teach it. It's a brand new employee. Just think of it like that.
Yep.
You need to keep on critiquing it. Tell it exactly what you want as the output and keep on moving from there. It's going to learn the new things. And when I was working with people, they would have like these Excel outputs that they want. They're like, this is what I've been doing. I'm like, okay, cool. So we built the agent to be able to give that as an output. If it doesn't have it exactly how it is, you need to give it feedback. And you can also give it feedback by uploading what you're expecting. And so through there, we kind of worked through all the different bugs that they had in there. You can also do, I think it's like dev mode or something in Copilot, where you can actually look to see where it's going wrong when you're building it out. So yeah, that was.
It's definitely a race, and you're right. You use one tool, and 2 weeks later, that the next tool has that same option that's in there. I have a tendency to get in my own workflow, and then that new option comes out that will optimize even what I'm doing, and I still do it the same way I've been doing it over and over until I go, oh, it's been in there for 3 months. This option here, oh, it does that automatically.
Human nature. I think we're just kind of wired that way.
That's why organizations come up with so many different software tools in there, because they don't realize that they update them all the time.
Yes.
And that goes back to the simplify and then optimize and implement.
I was going to say, you didn't remember the other two. That didn't make me feel so bad that I didn't remember.
But yeah.
How Claude updates every time you open it.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to restart it again.
Well, because if you look at I saw online one time, it was like their launch calendar, and they were releasing 2 or 3 features a day for an entire month. Like the pace is incredible.
Did you ever run out of tokens yet?
I'm getting close now, but I'm only on the $20 a month plan, and I'm using it heavily. I'm working with it. So Melvin is my OpenClaw like orchestration agent name, and we spent a decent amount of time in the last couple of days like optimizing for tokens, and we were actually just talking about this when we were getting water, about using like an orchestration agent that has sub agents underneath it that will do tasks. All of my sub agents use the most efficient model that OpenAI has, whatever it is. I can't remember what it is. 5.5 is their most powerful model, but it's also the most token sucking model. So the sub agents use lesser, more efficient tokens, so they can do a lot more work and not burn through the tokens as fast.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure that out. Like I catch it every once in a while. I ask them, like, "Are you using sub agents?" And they'll say, "Ooh, that's good call out, Pete. No, I'm not." And then I'll say, "Well, why not?" Then we get in this big conversation about how do we, in your soul file, the personality file, the markdown file, like what do we put in there so that when you go to do something, you always consider using a sub agent? So that's kind of where I'm at in my relationship with Melvin right now, is trying to figure out this sub agent thing, because I don't want to burn through all my tokens in a couple of days.
It does get expensive. We have team plans on multiple platforms, and Claude's probably one of the biggest ones that we use. And ironically, I'm getting very close every month of burning up all my tokens. And I'm on the bigger plan. I got like 1 million tokens, and we're getting close. And I've already had, ironically, the salespeople and business development people are maxing it out. We're one of the heaviest users because we're going, oh my gosh, we can do this ourselves now.
Yeah.
And not our developers. And our developers use multiple tools, so they're not maxing out one at a time. We're just sticking with one. And I've gotten close, and I've had other guys that literally have maxed out in the middle of a project saying, you're out of tokens. 1 million tokens in
that's
weeks.
Nuts. I think the other reason I'm not maxing it out is I will switch between different models, because I want to keep up on what everyone is doing. So I'll go back to regular Chat GPT, or I'll go to use Gemini for some things and kind of bop around a little bit. So
I'll switch like which model within Claude even too. Like I'll start with Opus to like map it out to kind of do the logic of it. But then like when it starts building it, I can switch to Sonnet or even Haiku or something like that.
That's the part I'm trying to automate. What I was describing earlier is
that makes sense.
It shifts down when it needs to do that. So
you can also take out, like, after you're having a conversation with it and you're close to your tokens or something, and you want to keep that conversation and bring it over, you can have it kind of do an export, but in a markdown file, to take that conversation, the gist of it, to continue that conversation in the next prompt.
That is a really, really good point. So then you can continue it on without missing a beat, but you're using a different model. Mm-hmm. That's what I should be doing more of.
Also, if you are uploading any files, use text files and not like PDFs or something like that, just because it uses more.
Oh yeah, that's a good point too.
Learning.
Yeah.
You can
wonder why I'm
can you take
burning up
Drew's
so many tokens.
spot? This would be a much better podcast if it was just Megan and I.
Wow.
You've mentioned Copilot a few times. I don't use it. I've not had good experiences, and I've never recommended to anyone that they use it.
Yeah.
But you've mentioned it a few times, so I'm sounding like maybe you're having more success than what I've had. And it's been probably months since I tried it because I got so pissed. I was just like, I'm done. I'm moving on.
Again, learning model. You have to teach it what you want it to do. I would not suggest Copilot for somebody who's not using Microsoft, obviously, but it just depends on what you want it to connect to. So the Microsoft Graph, it's going to already be able to have access to everything else. You can get granted access to, or any, like you could have ChatGPT for your organization and connect it to everything, but it's not going to already be in there from the Fabric Interconnect and things like that. So it just depends on where your information is, where you want to get it out of, and then kind of going from there. But all of these tools, the reason why ChatGPT is everybody's favorite is because it was free and everybody used it. And then they used all of the prompts and chatting and stuff with ChatGPT to train all the models, and then it's bringing in everything. So it's learning from a vast amount of people instead of like these like Copilot or Gemini. You're not going to use those really unless you have a Google or Microsoft.
Right. And don't get me wrong, like I want it. If Copilot was the best out there, my life would be a lot easier because all of our clients are already in the Microsoft.
Yeah, everybody's
ecosystem.
in that world. Yeah.
It's for me. And I know that it's just using an open AI model in the background. I think you can even choose whatever model you want now. Like, all that part makes sense. It's the functionality of it. Like if I'm in my Edge browser, which is a Microsoft product, and it has a little Copilot icon. If I click it and I ask it questions about what's on the screen, it will say, I can't see your screen. Like that kind of stuff. Or the little sidebar will just sit there and spin and not load. Like I've never had a flawless, smooth experience just interacting with it. Not how the model performs or anything like that, but just like the functionality of like even typing in it or getting it to look at, give me information about different files and things. That's been my issue.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Copilot, especially if you're using any Microsoft things, I don't know if you guys have noticed in the last month or so, they have been doing a lot of updates, it seems like, because I will have things crash, like my Outlook or my Teams, and I'm like, oh, well, I was in a meeting, so that was great.
Yeah.
But again, when we were talking about how all of these different platforms are kind of racing to market with things, that's kind of the biggest problem with it, as well as its advantages, because everybody's trying to update everything all the time. But as they're updating it and it's in the cloud, it's going to interrupt whatever you're doing at that time. So.
Yeah, maybe it's just bad timing on my part. I always happen to be using it when they're updating something, but and that's with any product, I guess. If your first couple of experiences with it aren't stellar and something else works better, then it's just hard to go back to it.
Just gonna gravitate towards.
I want it to win. Like I wish it would have been right out of the gate, like the front runner and been great. But even like they've put guardrails around it too. So I think I've shared this on here before. But we had a really cool use case for Copilot where we had a intern for the summer, a sales development rep, and we were having him talk. Have a verbal conversation like it was a phone call, like he was calling a prospect, so he could train without talking to real people. And it worked great, and we're doing it all in Copilot. And it would then record the transcript and give him feedback afterwards and say, here's what you could have done differently, or you did this part well. But when we got to there was one final thing that we wanted to do, and we wanted it to essentially kind of manage him and give him feedback from a manager perspective and say, hey, you're doing great, or these are things you need to work on, not like just the transcript feedback. And a pop-up came up and said, you're violating the terms of service for Microsoft. And it had a link. And when I clicked the link and it went to it, it said, Microsoft Copilot cannot be used to manage people, essentially. And maybe I shared this story with you when we met earlier, but like that kind of stuff too is like, okay, well, are they... I get it, they're Microsoft and everybody wants to sue them because they have all this money and things could go wrong. So I'm wondering if they just put too many guardrails around it so that people couldn't use it in a way that would get them sued, I guess.
I mean, you don't want, I think it was if it was MIT or I can't remember what company it was, but they basically said that the computers should never make the final decision. So maybe that's where they're coming from, where you want to have like an actual human manager to kind of do that. But from a training perspective, I wonder if there's something to go around that, be like, just make sure that they're training in these different things to give feedback, and maybe not from a managerial perspective, because we all know words mean things. So if you could provide a different word to be able to give the feedback.
Totally. Yeah. I'm confident that if I wanted bad enough to circumvent it, I could have, but it was just one more thing for me to be like, nah, I'm gonna.
I mean, honestly, like tools, there's so many good tools out there right now. You don't have to be pigeonholed into one. You can just basically figure out whichever one's good for that. So again, in that Copilot pilot that I was doing with that company, I was like, you need to understand that if these use cases, like they may be awesome use cases, but I was also using that BXT framework. So you need to make sure the business aspects there, the end user experience is there. So if it's not doing exactly what they want to, it's not going to work for them. And then also, is it technically feasible? It might be a really cool use case, but we're not there yet.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is like we were talking about, there might be AI already injected into the specific apps or platforms that you guys are using to get your data out of. You don't want to force it into something else because you have it. You want to make sure that you're using the most appropriate tool for whatever output that you want.
Yeah. I'm sure they're going to be fine. It's Microsoft. Like they're going to
figure it out.
They're going to be just fine.
They're too integrated into enterprise business not to figure it out.
My experience is very dated too. It's been months since I've touched it. So, and you've used it a lot more recently. So I would go more off of what you say than what I'm.
Well, I mean, you probably shouldn't have used it in the last month or so. It would have just made you more mad.
Yeah,
So
apparently it's crapping out. So
I'll figure it out.
So when you work with clients, when you work with kind of setting them up on, sounds like all different levels, everything from introducing them to how to use it all the way up to let's build something. And obviously I'm guessing that's the goal, is to, okay, now let's build something. Let's optimize some of your workflows. When you, and you don't have to tell me the whole secret sauce, but just to kind of tease our audience of how your process is when you meet with a client and you start talking with them through this. Do you find that they want to jump immediately to, I think AI can help with this? Or is it more of just tell me your workflows and I'll figure out where AI can fit into there?
more the latter, because you'll find customers that are all about AI, but then their employees may not be. Or like, because I mean, they see all these layoffs that are happening. They really don't want AI to take their job. And then it goes back to that, the simplification portion of that. You need to make sure that you look at their workflow. What is your actual end goal? Because a lot of the times we will get different pieces of software to do the entire workflow, where if you just kind of look at all the software that you have right now and do an analysis like, okay, so back 5 years ago, we needed 3 different pieces of software, but since then, there has been updates on all of them where there's so much overlap that we're just tripling our expenses for one workflow. And so looking to see what's your outcome? Like, what do you want to do? Because again, in some of the things, like when we're trying to bend the software to be able to do what we need it to do, it might not be the right software for that, and you could use something else. So figuring out what their end goal is and then making a more appropriate path to get there is kind of where you want to start, and then figuring out, all right, well, there's these softwares that you're currently using. We can either use one of them or 2 of them or however you want to do it, or we can do analysis of like what's out there right now, because so many things are out there now, and it could be less expensive. It could be exactly how you want to do it, or we could build something from scratch.
Yeah. So it's that buy, build, or rent. Like I forgot what the third one was. Yes. So yeah, to kind of look at that, that makes sense. Because then you can kind of size up what's going to be the best fit, and applying the tool at the end makes sense.
Do you have a favorite project that you've worked on where? Sorry, you want to ask it?
Fine. No, you take it.
No.
No, go ahead.
Did I ask myself?
Yeah. Would you? Actually, Drew and I will leave.
I'm curious, just working with clients, like which one like really stood out where it was like, oh my gosh, we took it from 0 to 1,000.
So actually, I had kind of a project that I was working on for myself, and mostly it was for SOWs. A lot of the time when when you get a project, being a project manager for forever, the scope sometimes is not accurate, and they didn't get the buy-in from the people that they should have before they got the SOW signed. So I built this agent and it was supposed to be something like super easy, so that like one of the sales agents could be having a conversation during dinner with a client, and they could just kind of put it into their phone, just the what's their current issue, what's the current state, and then what's their desired state. And then from there, it would look at all the different previous projects that are similar to that, just not from the company, but from wherever, look at best practices. So if it was using something like Cisco WebEx or something, it would look at specifically Cisco, how they actually implement some of the things like best practices and things like that. And then be able to build out the SOW. It also goes through the different types of resources that you would want in there, and if it was going to be like if your organization was providing most of the work, if you needed any feedback from the client or things like that, so you can build out the SOW completely, and then you can put in your own different rates for there, and then it would build out the entire SOW for you.
Nice. I bet that saved a crap ton of time.
It does. It's really nice. And also, if they're like, yeah, we want this by Q3, and you're like, well, these are the amount of hours that it's going to take, so that's not feasible. It also will do an analysis of what could we change in this to be able to do that. So instead of doing the entire project by Q3, we can do the first pilot portion of it, make sure it's work, and then at the end of Q3, you can reevaluate and then do the rest of the project to push it out.
Nice. Well, I think it's a quick win too.
Right.
It kind of proves out that ROI, and I think you get a lot more buy-in too at the end of that.
Yeah.
Nice.
More than just the time, it's the like, I don't know, maybe you do enjoy this kind of stuff because you're wired differently. But if you like writing an SOW for me, if I had to like start from scratch and write that thing out, I would just be punching myself in the face after about 5 minutes.
Yep.
So you not only eliminated the time that it takes, but for me, if I was using it, just this, I would wake up in the morning if I knew I had to do it that day, and I'd be depressed driving into work because I knew that I had to do that. So if you can take that part out,
it's the killer of the blank page. So that's another really good thing about AI is when you're doing those kind of things, it's not having it be your output, like the end goal. You want maybe 40% of AI to be the output. But if you have a starting point and then utilizing all of your subject matter experts to build it out the rest of the way, that's really what you want to do. Because again, human in the loop, they're not going to know all the different things. And especially for your particular organizations either, you want to make sure that they're giving that unique perspective instead of having something just completely AI generated pushed out.
Right, and where it's vaguely written, and you're like, this could apply to anyone, anywhere.
Yeah.
Totally get that. We got to wrap this up at the end of time. I know.
These always
like
go
we just
way
start
too
getting
fast.
into the dirt. Appreciate you coming on, giving some of your insight, especially from an IT side of things, because you have some IT experience, obviously, but you don't have any development experience. I don't have any development. So to hear that here's how the workflow kind of maps.
Here's how smart people do it.
Exactly. So where I'm already got wheels turning going, I got to optimize like everything I've ever built.
Just called trial and error, so it's okay.
I think it is that, but you are like relentless. Like the little bit of time that I spent with you, I'm so impressed, and I think you're just going to do incredible things. And for anybody listening that wants to work with somebody who's awesome and really gets this stuff, you should reach out to Megan.
And that's why I wanted to tee that up. Tell our viewers where they can find you.
Yeah, so we're intuitive-operations.com. If you want to reach out to us, we have a few things on there. I also have a blog that's aicatalyst.blog. And that's where I have a bunch of the frameworks for free. I've done a bunch of different trainings too. So it's not just my framework. It's a bunch of different frameworks from PMI to some other ones that I've done as well. So
nice. That's cool. I didn't know you had that either. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on and giving us kind of that insight.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me.
Appreciate it.
If you like today's episode, hit the like and subscribe button. And if you are building anything using AI, we'd love to hear it in the comments. Thanks, everybody.